Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3. Today, I'm so excited. My guest will be talking about how restrictive diets and binge cycles can affect your physical and mental health. And if you are stuck in this cycle, you won't be able to work on your mental health or your spiritual growth, whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing your body in the proper way, and even increasing your level of frequency in life. You need that strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in your life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at sarabantahealth.com. My website is the sponsor of the show, so as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting edge content and guests to the show. Today, as I mentioned, we will be diving into binge and restrictive cycles. But first, I wanted to talk about some tools you can use to stop the cycle and still get the health results that you are after, making it easier to reverse that hormonal decline, improve energy, and reverse aging. Yes, not just anti-aging, but I am into reversing that age. The goal is to improve mitochondrial health and increase energy at the cellular level. So first, accelerated scalar copper. And this is brand new to my company. It's needed for anemia, fatigue, skin, collagen, eye and hair color. Did you know you could actually turn your hair color back to the original color? It helps with the brain function, connective tissue, and so much more. What I like to call copper is the unsung hero. And that's because it's behind the scenes. It is the key that unlocks endless enzymatic actions in the body. For instance, you might be anemic, not because of iron, but because there's not the copper to unlock that door to let the iron get to where it needs to go. This led me to come out with the accelerated scalar copper. Most copper supplements only have 5% absorption. Accelerated copper has 99% absorption, and it is the only nano scalar copper solution treated with water implosion technology, and of course, enhanced with scalar frequency to enhance the absorption and the efficacy. Next is accelerated keto. This supplement is very important for the topic we are talking about today. It flips you into fat burning mode within 30 minutes, and your body taps into its own fat stores for energy right away. Why is this important? You feel great physically and mentally right away, and then that feeling of, I can do this. The little buggers in your head that are saying, I want to binge, I want to binge, I want to binge, go away, because they're not hungry anymore, because your body is tapping into its own fat stores. When your body's running on those ketones from the accelerated keto, combine it with intermittent fasting, prioritizing high wild animal protein, and a low-carb diet, the ATP production increases. That is your true cellular energy. That is not the energy from a monster drink or a cup of coffee. That is down to the cellular level. And that also is going to help reverse that aging. It's going to increase that mitochondria and your energy. There are other ingredients in the accelerated keto, unlike any other keto supplement, that break down saturated fats into unsaturated fats. Why is this important? Number one, it's cleansing the liver. It's getting rid of that visceral fat and the liver fat from fatty liver. But it's also making those fats easier for the body to utilize and convert into ketones. So when you're fasting, the body fat is more readily available to burn for energy, and you actually increase that autophagy. It also is taking the stress out of the body. Fasting can be a stressor on the body. When you're on the accelerated keto, your mind is calm, your GABA increases, your dopamine increases, you feel great. the stress calms down, the cortisol calms down, and the accelerated keto is actually defatting that liver. We need a clean liver, especially now more than ever after the last couple of years. We are being bombarded in our food supply, in our environment. The spike protein is wreaking havoc on our organs and our insulin and our fertility, estrogen dominance. All of these things are skyrocketing because of that spike protein. Well, accelerated keto, without even doing a liver flush, is cleansing the liver to increase fat burning, increase protein utilization, and increasing that detoxification that is so, so important. The more your fat or your liver is defatted and unclogged, the easier it is for the liver to function in all areas and also increase that mitochondrial biogenesis. The liver is also where thyroid hormones convert from T4 to T3. And as the liver is functioning better, the thyroid works better, increasing metabolism, mitochondrial function, and energy. Now, the thyroid, I would say that Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism has skyrocketed in the last 2 years just because of everything that's going on. So when you're increasing the T4 conversion to T3, your metabolism is going to increase. That unexplained weight gain is probably due to your thyroid. Accelerated keto also has HMB, which prevents muscle wasting. And so as you have more healthy muscle tissue, as we're going to talk about today, you have more mitochondria and more ATP. Next is the Acceleradine. If you were to choose one supplement in the world to take, it is this. And why is that? Iodine is needed in all 100 trillion cells in the body, not just the thyroid. It helps increase ATP by 18 times, which is that true cellular energy needed for brain function, physical performance, wound healing, fat burning, and healthy apoptosis, which is the destruction of the diseased cells and damaged cells. From what's been going on, the damage that has been done to the DNA, Acceleradine does help reverse that damage done from the spike protein and from the mRNA. With ATP increasing, energy and fat oxidation also increase. It will increase your metabolism. Acceleradine is the only monoatomic iodine that feeds the cells directly without having to be broken down. Most other iodine supplements are toxic and only have 10 to 20% absorption. But Acceleradine is also enhanced with the scalar frequencies to detox the cells from the heavy metals, graphene oxide, and radiation, and has 100% bioavailability. No other iodine incorporates healing scalar frequencies. You take with it the accelerated salt that also helps stimulate digestion, hydrate the cells, helps you digest those fats if you're having a tough time digesting fats. And coming soon, could not be more excited. These two supplements are going to be game changers. Accelerated thyroid. We have combined ancient herbal wisdom with the advanced glandular therapy formulated to support the whole endocrine system. This is the thyroid supplement that is going to be a game changer. And I know so many people who are on their medication and they just still don't feel good. Accelerated thyroid is going to be that supplement. And then next is the Cognoblast. It is a cutting edge natural brain enhancement product that increases mental focus, energy, and memory. There are so many benefits. It enhances cognition, focus, mood, increased ATP again, enhances memory and learning speed. It also is great for lifespan, anti-aging and reversing that age, prevents Alzheimer's and dementia. Honestly, I could not be more excited about these two supplements. I will give tips and tools through my free group coaching. You can join with the link on Telegram below or email me through the website. The difference between me and any other group coach is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements to work synergistically with your body and with each other so your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You do feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested or check it out on the website, sarabantahealth.com. Now to the good stuff. Oh my goodness, I love this human being. Sara Garrison is the founder of Higher, a health and life coaching company that offers training, nutrition, mindset, and biohacking coaching. She has helped many celebrities, professional athletes, and top executives to optimize their health. And she's the author of Short-Term Keto, an amazing book, host of the Inside Out Health podcast, creator of the Higher Retreats, and producer of the Coach Tara app. Tara, welcome. How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you for having me again. That was a mouthful. Sorry you had to say all that. Appreciate it.
I'm so excited to have you. As I was telling you off camera, you truly are the coach for coaches. And I look to you for inspiration, and you just walk the walk, and you're an open book. And that vulnerability means so much to your listeners and your followers. And that's why you are so popular and so successful. And I just want you to know that you truly are. And I really hope all of my listeners and clients will be following you and taking your programming and reading your book, because it's just deep info that everyone needs, and it's from the heart. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much. I think we value in others the parts that we see of ourselves. And I know both of us are just like obsessed with, like, we just want to help. I got no ego in the game. Like, just like I've felt crappy, and I have felt so much better. And if there's anything I can share to help with that, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and people just think, I guess I'm not supposed to feel good because I'm getting older. That's what happens, right? I'm just gonna knock it off. And there's things about me and my body that I'm frustrated at. But what I've done, and you're so focused on the mental health, and we're going to get into that, but is okay. So maybe I don't have as much muscle as I want, but you know what? I'm pain free. And I don't have painful periods anymore, and whatever it is. And just to focus on the good parts, that's going to help with your mental health to then possibly get to the goals of the things that you're not so happy with yet. But before we get into the topic of all of that, I want you to share with everybody a little bit about your journey, and especially since we have seen each other since the last time you were on.
Since last time, let me think. I mean, just the quick synopsis was like overweight my whole life, standard American diet, 4 kids, mom runner, Zumba classes, eternally frustrated, picked up weightlifting, completely transformed my body once the nutrition piece came in, ended up qualifying for the Boston Marathon. It was really cool. Became obsessed with the body, went through a huge life transformation. And here I am today. And just like, so, honored to be in a position where I get to help people along in that journey. And it gives a lot of purpose to all the crap that I went through. And it's fun. It's so fun to learn. I know if you're listening to this, I know you're like-minded. It's just so fun to learn about the human body. And just, I see it like the ocean or outer space. It's like ceaselessly fascinating. Since we last talked, I probably retreats is a big thing, big focus for me. I am basically scoping out areas of the planet where I believe that the energy of the land can be a powerful facilitator in affecting transformation. And so I'm scoping out those areas of the world. We did our first one in Zion National Park in Utah in April. It was amazing. And we got one coming up in Maui in May. That's going to be so powerful. So they're health and mindset transformation retreats. So that's kind of the big thing for me right now. And then my Coach Tara app might be new since we last talked, and that's been really fun. I wanted a more affordable offer for people who couldn't afford to work with me. So it's training, nutrition, mindset is just walking meditations, and then some biohacking. There's a biohacking section with a monthly challenge, like look into your blood work, try intermittent fasting, so that's kind of the latest with me, I'd say.
I love that. That's awesome to make you more accessible. And the Miami retreat or the Maui retreat, I'm just gonna maybe have to find a way to get there. That just sounds amazing.
Yeah, we're doing a biohacking buffet. I'll have to talk to you about that.
Okay, that just sounds awesome. Well, every woman out there, and I would say that through the last couple of years, just with the increase of fear and stress and everything that's been going on, and also isolation, I've talked a lot about addiction and dopamine being the issue, right? The dopamine deficit. People are going after alcohol. I just did a big article and focus on alcohol. And then there's the porn and the gambling and all of these things in the social media.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also food. Here we are in COVID, we're in lockdown. What is, 10 feet away from us is our kitchen, our pantry, and we're not being, distracted by work or going to the office and away from that. So accessibility has increased. When you get in these restrictive diets, like, okay, I'm not going to do it today, whatever, I'm going to not eat all day. And then you have a bottle of wine, or then you pull out the Ben & Jerry's and eating your kids' mac and cheese. So this binge restrictive diet cycle, and you can say it's not just for someone with an eating disorder. It is for most people, I would say, have a disordered relationship with food. So can you talk about the side effects of that restrictive diet mindset?
Yeah, I mean, what you just said of like, okay, I'm gonna be perfect today. I just had a call with a client like 2 hours ago, and she binged, and I'm like, okay, let's walk through, let's look at what happened. And I told her, I'm like, so you started binging when you said to yourself in the morning, I'm gonna do really good today. That's when it started. And she kind of laughed. I'm like, so hear me out. And what I'd love to talk about today is just what you highlighted. Like, I love to look at the physiological side of like what's going on here, and also the psychological side of what's going on here. So on the psychological side, pressure. What happens when you're under a lot of pressure? Eventually you need release, right? So from the psychological side of things, when we look at food as I have to have this outside in metric of perfection, eventually you're going to want to release from that. And guess what the release is from this restrictive mindset? Not doing it anymore and binging, right? So it's the act of trying to control your food intake itself creates on the psychological level this entire pattern. So as an example, I have leftover Halloween candy in my house. I don't know. I have M&Ms. I do. I admit I've got M&Ms. They're one of my favorite, old school when I was standard American diet things. I haven't even, I identified this on this call with this client. I haven't even thought about it. I was like, what do I have? Because I'm like, you have stuff in your house like that, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yes. Okay. It's okay. It wasn't like I'm not drilling you. The reality is these foods are around us all the time. And even if they weren't in your house, the whole I'm going to get it all out of my house, that doesn't work either, because you have a car and you have a credit card or a debit card. Okay. So this whole pressured thing, it removes us from reality. And if we can accept reality of, I can eat whatever I want. And it's like, no, I can't. I'm trying to lose weight. No, I can't, Tara. I can't. No, the reality is that you can eat whatever you want. And you've proved that many, many times. That's reality. That's reality. So if we can come into reality and accept that we can eat whatever we want and stop putting so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect today, whatever that is, we can come back into the present moment and we can come into reality. And all that matters is right now. Literally, it's not cliche. It's not woo-woo. It's literally true. All we have is right now. And if we can remember, all I have to do is think about right now. I don't have to think about next Thursday. I don't have to think about right now. What do I choose? I can eat whatever I want. What can I eat that is self-honoring, that will give me nutrients, that sounds really good to me, that tastes good? It's important to honor that. You don't need to eat bland chicken. I wouldn't live that life either, right? So for my pattern is, what sounds good to me right now? Right. And so it's and I have some clutch things like my yogurt bowls, or my, I probably go get it after this. I've been wanting a spaghetti squash with some, regenerative ground beef spaghetti type thing. I love that, And so when we focus on that, it's that's what I want to have. It's not, I can't have M&Ms. Don't eat those. I don't want the M&Ms because I don't want to feel like that after. I want to feel good. So that's the psychological side, is when we have too much pressure and restriction on ourselves in whatever area that is, the only way to get release relief from that restriction that's in your mind is to do the exact thing that you don't want to do. So it goes into porn addiction. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
It is the same thing as food. It's don't do it, don't do it. Shame, guilt, don't do it, don't do it. Get the only way that your little inner rebel is going to find relief from that restrictive pressure is to do it. Right. And so it's not about that. It's about, I know I can do that. I mean, that right there is like the first stage of relief. It's like, I know I can do that. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Do it if you want to, right? We gotta give ourselves that on this whole thing, because only then can we tap into our mature energy of what do I really want though? How do I feel when I make that choice? Okay, maybe you're going to look at porn again, or maybe you're going to eat 20 bags of M&Ms. Okay. Remove shame, guilt, judgment. It's just being real with yourself. Like, how do I feel right now? And is there something else that I could choose that makes me excited and happy and I want it, that doesn't cause me to feel like that? And so, yeah, that's the psychological side. And then we can go all into the neurotransmitters and all that stuff as well, if you'd like.
Well, I would love to get down to the physical part, because I think when people understand that it's not their fault and it's not a lack of willpower,
Yeah.
right? That they're like every other human being, and
Right.
the chemical reactions that are occurring is normal,
Yes.
right? And that this is something that every single person on earth, I believe, has experienced. And maybe it's not just with food, maybe it's some other addiction or whatever it is, but the patterns and the chemical reactions are the same.
Yes.
But the hard thing is that food, everybody needs to eat every day. Not everybody needs to see porn every day or drink alcohol or do cocaine every day, right? So you're faced with this thing that you have to do every day. And how do we make that in a normal relationship? So let's get into the physical part of the restrictive binge cycle.
Well, and with alcohol or porn or cocaine or whatever it is, if they don't understand, if a person doesn't understand what's going on biochemically inside of them, and that is the only method that they have found to get out of that state, they do feel like they need to do that every day. It's their only. And so for people, most people, I always tell people, I'm like, okay, so you're exhibiting all the signs of low dopamine and low serotonin. Food, especially the processed stuff, like that's a really quick way to get out of that state. So pretty smart, but then not, because of all the fallout, right? And so let's look at it. So I want to talk about dopamine and serotonin first of all. I also want to talk about ghrelin. So dopamine, I've got a study here. I can give you the link to if you want, Sara, but there's a study showing that food fasting and just food restriction in general decreases baseline dopamine levels and enhances dopamine release in response to rewards such as food. Okay. So if you're trying to restrict calories, it's well established that your dopamine levels are going to go down. And guess what? When your dopamine levels are down, you don't care about stuff as much. You get in that, like, sorry for but the F it mode. Like, I don't care. I'm good. Like, forget that stuff. That's what low dopamine feels very depressing. And you're not going to feel driven and on top of yourself. And when you're calorically restricting, dopamine levels going down. And not only that, but you're getting an enhanced dopamine response to the food. Right. Dopamine response drives a lot of human behavior. We are very easily programmable through a dopamine response, in case you haven't ever been on TikTok, right? So it will just own you, or any social media platform. That's what's happening, right? And so I think it's important, first of all, for people to give themselves that. As you said, it's like, okay, if you're going in caloric restriction, baseline dopamine is going down and you're getting an enhanced response. Let's talk about serotonin. So low serotonin levels have also been associated with eating disorders, and restrictive eating can lower your serotonin levels. So guess how you get serotonin back up? Real easy way, eat food. So looking at this is okay, so what do we do with this information? Oh, last thing, ghrelin, the hunger hormone, is kind of the nickname for it. Obvious. I mean, it's kind of obvious. I don't think you need to study, but ghrelin is going to increase when you're calorically restricting because your body's like, no, we don't want to let go of all these fat stores. Make sure you eat more food so we can hang on to these for survival. So now you're in like, think about that. Like if anybody who has ever binged on food could please give themselves a break right now. You're in a chemical state in which your serotonin's low, your dopamine's low, and your ghrelin, hunger hormone, which our hormones drive us like crazy. If you ever had a first kiss when you were 16 years old, you know what that it's like all of a sudden I'm not thinking straight right now. It's really hard to win a battle against your chemicals. So let's give ourselves all that. And then let's talk about strategies. Like, what do we do about that? We're trying to lose weight. So this is why I am so big on intelligently approaching a calorie deficit. Okay. So people say it's all about calories. I get that. But if you're eating a calorie deficit of only Twix bars, you are going to be starving, low energy, but if you're eating a calorie deficit of whole proteins, real foods, healthy fats, vegetables, whole eggs, and all of this stuff, think about that just on a common sense level. The quantity of food and the satiety impact it's going to bring when you're eating real whole foods from nature versus Twix bars with the same amount of calories.
Right.
It's pretty obvious, even for someone who isn't into nutrition. It's like, I'm going to be way fuller on that for longer. And guess what? You can like mix in a little bit of a treat, some dark chocolate or like it doesn't have to be all only chicken and vegetables. You can mix some stuff in there too, but you want a lot of that. Last thing I wanted to say is that ketogenic diets, which I feel like was somewhat applicable to this audience here, suppresses the increase in the secretion of ghrelin. Right. And so that's nice. I think that's a big impact. The reason why a lot of people are able to go into those states, you're obviously just metabolically upgrading everything if you have any sort of metabolic dysfunction, but you're doing it in a state in which you can now suppress ghrelin at the same time. And as you mentioned, increases GABA, and GABA is really nice too. And I last on the neurochemical talk, and I'll stop being so nerdy, but like GABA. Okay. So a lot of people who experience anxiety, I don't think they know about glutamate and GABA. So I'm going to try to share this as like in plain terms as I can.
Be scientific and nerdy.
Okay. Let's be nerdy. Okay. So glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter. And some people, their baseline levels of glutamate are higher than others. This is in like the neurotyping testing that I do in my coaching. So I do a personality test and I can tell a lot about somebody's baseline neurochemicals based off of their personality. You're dopamine dominant, you're going to be competitive, driven, you love to win, you have like this higher perspective. If if someone's high in glutamate, they're going to be really emotional. And it's beautiful about them, right? It's a wonderful quality. They're very connected to their emotions. But here's what happens. Glutamate converts to GABA, mostly in your gut. And there's an enzyme that gets released that helps that conversion happen. When you eat sugar, so high fructose corn syrup or sugar, people talk about fructose. I'm like, dude, I'm personally not worried about fructose at all from fruit. But from high fructose corn syrup and sugar, that's such an astronomically artificial your body's like, what? And so fructose blocks the enzyme, the production of that enzyme that converts glutamate into GABA. And so that's why you take somebody, if you connect with already being like an emotional person, you feel deeply, you love deeply, you're sentimental, you care about others, you probably are like a little higher in glutamate than others. And then, so if you notice you eat sugar and all this stuff, and all of a sudden you're really anxious the whole next day, let that be a clue in for you. And then guess what happens? You're all anxious, you're overthinking, and you want out of it. So what do? You
eat.
Yeah, you turn to alcohol or more junk food, and just the whole thing is just this cycle that just keeps going and going and going, And so one of my favorite ways to help people kind of get out of that cycle is you got to find like yummy replacements. Right? Like I do not just only eat chicken and vegetables and eggs all day. I have like Built bars. I've got like these yogurt bowls I make with like Lily's chocolate chips, and it's like freaking delicious, So find your stuff, like find your yummy stuff so you like your lifestyle. And then if you can, like, I'm always like, what will turn the needle for them? Like how do I get them out of this like neurochemical state they're in? And really think exercise is one of the most powerful ways to do that, because you're going to upregulate GABA, serotonin, dopamine, also norepinephrine. So you're going to like have a satiety impact on that. So now all of a sudden you're in this neurochemical state where you're not needing food to get you there. Right. So if you're in this cycle of binge and restrict, one of the things I did, because I've walked this road, I definitely was this person. I would start going for walks in the afternoon. And it just took care of it for me. I was like, oh, I'm just thirsty, need some minerals, go for a walk. Now I don't need food to do that for me. And I just went for a walk and cleared my head and increased my lymphatic flow. And like, wow. So finding solutions is a big part of like getting out of this. But just wanted to share, it's a lot of it is neurochemical. And that's why it's important for these kind of conversations to happen, I think, so people can understand, like, you're not just a loser. You're not just like a crappy willpower person. There's neurochemicals at play. And if you can learn how they work and how to modulate them yourself in healthier ways, boom shakalaka.
Absolutely. So I want to touch on a couple things. When you're stressed over, okay, I can't binge, that stress is increasing cortisol and epinephrine, which is increasing your blood sugar and increasing fat storage. So just by stressing over it, you are increasing your fat storage, which you're trying to avoid from binging, right? So that is one more reason to check off the list. Okay, just calm down. Let's do all the things that Tara said. We need to increase our GABA. How do we relax and reduce our cortisol? We take a walk. We move forward. The thing I love about walking is physically and mentally and spiritually, you're moving forward. You're lowering that cortisol. You are taking one step at a time. You're moving away from that binge. You know, all of these metaphorical ways and physical ways you are actually taking action. I love walking, and you're out in nature. You're getting the amazing fuel from the sun.
I know.
Right?
Yes. Which is an appetite. Like, it's fuel. It literally is. So you're less likely to need it from food. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then what you said about, okay, I need to make some swaps. What am I going to focus on? Because if you say, I'm not going to think about the ice cream, I'm not going to think about the ice cream, I'm not going to think about the ice cream. It's just like saying, I'm not going to think about the pink elephant. What's the pink elephant? And what do you think about?
Exactly.
You think about the pink elephant. So you want to focus or crowd out the bad stuff with the good stuff. So I have options. And it's funny. My dessert is papaya. Why is it's a very low sugar fruit, and I put it into this protein shake that tastes good and sweet. And yes, I'll use the healthier chocolate chips if I want to add some of that to it. But I have something to go to. But I always first make sure I prioritize protein, because that protein triggers the gut to release CCK to tell the brain, okay, I'm good. And what people don't understand is part of the binging is that if you're binging on Pringles and pizza, your brain is saying, okay, I'm taking in food, but I don't see any nutrients yet. Keep eating.
Well, and I'm so glad you brought up protein, because dopamine and serotonin. Okay, so if you get into these lower states, guess what's chock full of the building blocks of dopamine and serotonin in a very bioavailable form? Animal protein.
Right.
So they're loaded with tryptophan, which helps you build serotonin, and tyrosine, which helps you build dopamine. So this was like the biggest game changer for me ever. When I just started eating more protein, I was like, oh, I get it. This is not only that, but like the brain power that I experienced, I was like, wow, dopamine's nice, serotonin's nice. Like, holy cow, I'm like living in a different reality now, you know? So if you're, chronically eating low protein, which I'm just being real with you guys, I don't care how healthy you are. When I start having people track, they are not eating very much protein. And I get this all the time. It's like, I can't eat this much food. And I'm like, that is like a super calorie deficit, like for sure. Like, I wasn't even going to keep you on this that long, but like that just goes to show the satiety impacts. It's like, I can't eat this much. It's like, no, well, I guarantee you could eat that much if it was only like, chocolate and French fries and chips. But like now it's different when we're getting the satiety impact of protein. And it's not just that, it is the neurochemical uplift that you get I am such a proponent of animal proteins, high quality animal proteins. They will change your life. They are so helpful on brain power and satiety and all of it. So yeah, it's a big part of this conversation is like really take a look at how much I think Sara and I operate the same way. It's like every single time I go to eat anything, the first thought in my mind is protein. It's like, okay, and how can I base this meal around protein and get some more nutrients in?
It's amazing. Like sometimes last night I had 2 10-ounce bison ribeyes. And my
Amazing.
body just loved every ounce of it. And what
Yes.
women especially don't know is that you need more protein as you get older, and people tend to eat less. And I will have women friends who will say, God, I just keep gaining weight. I keep gaining weight. I'm just going to stick to the pea protein shake and I'm going to walk 10 miles every day. And they don't get results. But they're burning out their adrenals. They're not getting the nutrients. They're slowing down their metabolism. And it's this cascade of detrimental effects to their body. And they don't feel good and they're unhappy. And then they will end up binging. Tara, what should somebody do after a binge?
There's a lot there. And the biggest thing the first thing that I have to share is shame and guilt are a cop out. This is something I say. So what I mean by this is when you go into shame and guilt, you don't process anything. That's it. You don't learn from it. You don't move forward. It's just it's the end of the road. It's a dead end. It's like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did that. You're never going to get this. But it's that's it. That's the end of it. Yeah. So if you can remove shame and guilt, it's hard when that's the pattern, right? It's just like, no, I am mad at myself. Why did I do that? And all this comes in. If you can remove that and be like, instead of why did I do that? It's like, hey, actually, I'm here with you, me. and like, why do you think that happened? Like genuinely, like just curious. What do you think led into that? And giving yourself a break, you'll start to find answers. But that's like, it's like, no, you can't be nice to yourself because then you'll just keep doing it. That's not what happens. Self-compassion, compassion researcher Kristen Neff talks about this in her book, Self-Compassion, which is like, if you're in this thing, you need to read Self-Compassion. It's one of the best books ever. And she says that when you are in the pattern of shaming and guilting yourself, you will actually not process, like I'm saying, because you've now associated pain with that whole thing. And so you just avoid it. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about because I've been there. It's just like, can't believe I did that. It's okay. I don't care. And it's like, no, you're shaming yourself. So first of all, that is like, get curious, give yourself a big old heart hug. Hey, it's okay. I love you. It's okay. I'm actually just genuinely curious. Like, what do you think is going on in a neutral, loving, supportive energy? And then you'll start to find answers. Second, don't do your same old crap of like going and trying to exercise it all off, because when you do that, or trying to fast it off, just wait until you get hungry again and just roll with it. Because when you do that, that leads into the next episode of like, okay, well, and I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like, I'll just fast all day the next day, or I'll just run 10 miles tomorrow. Like, no, stop. So like, don't do that. Resist the urge to do that, because you're just patterning it in even more. Last thing I'll say, sorry, this is not quite your question, but just if you like feast and famine, if you like feasting, which is like maybe binging, like I'm like, well, I don't binge, but I definitely just eat to satiety. Try intermittent fasting. You might really enjoy it, because it's like you just wait till you get good and hungry and eat lots of nutritious food during the day, not worry about it too much. And then I cut it off at night because I want to get good quality sleep. Right. And it's just the intention. It's not like I can't eat. It's just, I don't want to, because I want to wake up feeling amazing tomorrow. So if you like binging, like it's kind of a nice lifestyle. It's like, maybe you might enjoy the flow of just being able to freaking eat to satiety. I hate eating a small meal and not feeling satisfied at the end. Like, I'm going to kill someone.
Exactly.
I'm still hungry. Like, no.
I'm the same way. And if you think about it, after the binge, your blood sugar's gone way up. So what's it going to do? Come down. And that's when you want to go into that cycle again. Yeah. Well, just like you're saying, when you are hungry and when you come down and you're craving, go for the protein. because what is
Yeah.
that going to do? That's going to stabilize your blood
Yes.
sugar, increase the glucagon, which is going to
Yeah.
increase
That's a great tip.
right? You're going to
Mhm.
increase the fat oxidation, but then you're going to stop that cycle. Just kind of and focus
Yeah.
on the protein. I tell my kids for different reasons. I tell them because they're all athletes, eat your protein first, sitting at your plate. You've got your meat and maybe your vegetables and your starch, and they do have their carbs because they're athletes. And
Yeah.
as you talk about, your muscles are those carb sponges.
Yeah.
But to eat your protein first, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to finish everything else on your plate because your brain says, I'm full, I'm good. But then if you
Mhm.
go and have the Ben and Jerry's afterwards, you could probably eat 2 cartons because then it tricks your brain into that dopamine addictive behavior, right?
Yeah, and you just don't get full all the way, right? Like, you just don't have that long-term protein has the longest impact in terms of duration of satiety, right? So,
Right.
and then if you add fiber to that mix, like, holy smokes, like, if your gut can tolerate fiber, like, you're gonna be full for a really long time.
Absolutely. We have a few minutes left, and you being an amazing physically in shape, you have the physique that most women, especially me, would like. And so I want to talk about the fact that muscles are so important for not just vanity, but for longevity and for health, and also for this restrictive binge cycling, because you've got these muscles that need the carbs and need the calories. All of those things work together. So let's talk
Mhm.
about the importance of strength training and muscles, especially for women.
Yeah, thank you. I like, it's like, okay, ladies, like, I'm on the other side now, and I can tell you, because like I was always I started getting overweight in 3rd grade, right? So like I
Mhm.
know what it's like to like feel defeated and like I can't do it and everyone else can figure it out but me. Like I never could have ever imagined that someday I would be the person that my girlfriends are like, "How do you freaking eat that much? Like, how can
Mhm.
you literally, how can you eat that much food?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm just hungry and not get fat." Okay. So, like, this is it. This is it. When you're weight training, when you've built muscle and you have not only like these storage tanks or the sponges I talk about, which can hold a lot of carbohydrate stored in these babies, right? The more muscle mass you have, the more carbohydrates you store in there and all of that. But when you're consistently doing it, the hormone shifts that are being created in your body, you're becoming more insulin sensitive. You're creating growth hormone on a regular basis, which is like the magic pill of fat loss, muscle growth. So it's like, and if you can look at weight training as fun, like for me, it's like, I mean, I was kicking butt in there this morning. I will fully admit, like it's almost like funny because it's like people who go to my gym know I'm like so into it. I'm just like, it's just so fun for me. It's so fun for me now, with more experience to like push myself like that. I'm not doing it for the body composition stuff anymore. I'm just doing it because it's literally fun. But I get all that. And even like guys that I know from the gym that are like really ripped, they're like, I don't eat perfect. I eat like I went to get fast food, burger, fries, and a soda and a milkshake last night. Now I'm not advocating that, and I don't really eat that way. I mean, I might have some sweet potato fries every once in a while, but like all I'm saying is like you get so much wiggle room in your nutrition. And I know for women, it's like, I just want to be able to eat and not get fat. That's how you do it. That's
Yep.
it. That's how you do it, is like
A-
consistently lift weights. And like, if you want that, that's your ticket. So yeah.
I am the same way. My workout is my playtime. I love it. I try to do new things. I try to get ideas. I try to change it
Mhm.
up. I feel my body. If my
Yeah.
back's sore, I'm doing my
Yeah.
legs. I don't have a set routine,
Yep.
and I've stayed away from the chronic cardio because I know it's not doing me any good, especially, and Tara, I'm older than you. As you get into perimenopause and menopause, your adrenals aren't as
Mhm.
forgiving, right?
Right.
So you
Right.
really have to be careful, and it's
Yes.
not going to get you anywhere, right?
Yeah,
The
it's good in small doses, but not as the only ticket.
Exactly. Do it for your mental health when you need to
Yeah.
do it, but don't do it to get the body composition that you're
Yeah.
after.
Right.
And you're not going to get big. I lift heavy, heavy weights and I'm trying and it doesn't work. But in all seriousness, you're going to be as big as your genetics give you.
Yeah.
And we don't have the testosterone that men have.
Right.
And that's what makes us so special.
I just
So
posted about this morning. I don't know. You probably haven't seen it, but I'm bratty about it sometimes, but I'm just messing with people. But I'm like, if you think you're going to get bulky, I'm like, okay, prove it. Show me,
right.
let's see it. Show me how you get bulky. I'm like, it's not as easy as you thought it was, is it?
Yes. And you know what? If you start getting bulky, you can always stop. You know
Yeah,
how to
that's
go
what I
back,
say.
right?
Like, just
So
eat less
just
protein and
try
stop
it.
lifting.
Well, I love it. Well, before we go, tell everybody where they can find you and about your programs and your retreats and your book.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. So my biggest two social media platforms are Instagram and TikTok, and it's just Coach Tara Garrison, Tara is my handle on there. My website's taragarrison.com. My book is Short-Term Keto. So love keto, always will love keto. Such a powerful tool in the tool belt of nutrition. And the book is about reasons why you might not need to do it forever, and going into all this, a lot of the stuff we talked about today, gut health, neurotransmitters, and all of that. So athletic performance, all the things. That's on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And then my retreats, if you want to check that out, would love to see any of you there. It's just taragarrison.com/retreat. The next one is in May 10th through 14th in Maui. And then check out my podcast. It's the Inside Out Health podcast. Sarah's been on that podcast. So would love to see you guys there as well.
I love having you on. I could talk to you forever. I feel like we should be best friends if you only lived in my town. But
Totally.
thank you so much, Sara. And everyone follow her. She is a breath of fresh air and an inspiration, especially in social media. I love your posts and your stories, and they're so inspirational with you watching you work out in the gym. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So
Thanks, Sarah.
definitely check her out. And thank you everybody else for joining us today. If I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, sarabantahealth.com. I'm happy to put together a protocol for you, and join the free group coaching on Telegram with the link below. I teach you on a daily basis with tips and tools to enhance your health, and you will be a part of a like-minded community to support you on your journey, in addition to truly taking control of that health. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and over 100 channels under Accelerated Health Radio and TV, including YouTube, Stitcher, Pandora, iTunes, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. Join us every week, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific time and Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. You can find everything that I've talked about on the website, sarabantahealth.com, and you can also use coupon WELCOME10 for 10% off site-wide. Thanks again for joining us here on Accelerated Health Radio, and have a great week. Thanks, Sara.